Be seated, please. Before we get started, I'm going to give you a little bit of an outline on how this will go today. So these are the cases that are here this morning are all who have petition for protection orders. So you can see there are quite a number of people here. So what I'm going to do first is find out who's here by calling the names of the parties. Then I'll proceed to deal with cases where only one party is present so that those people can either have their cases continued or dismissed. And then I'll proceed to have hearings on cases where both parties are present. The priority of those hearings will be first, I have a hearing here with an interpreter, and I'll let everyone know that's going to be Lopez versus Perez. After that, I'll take hearings where both parties are present and a temporary order has previously been issued in the case. And then finally, I'll have hearings on cases where both parties are present, but no temporary orders previously been issued in the case. These hearings will be conducted this morning from now until approximately noon, at which time we're going to take a break for the noon period. And then if there are any cases that haven't been heard at that point, we'll resume this afternoon with these cases at 1:30 in courtroom 4. Right? Gives you an outline on what to expect this morning. All right, so I'm going to call the names of the parties. If you're present, please let me know. If you're representing that party, please let me know. Maria Lopez.
Your Honor, Ms. Bacon present. We have reached a settlement in that matter.
Okay, why don't we just do that right now so that we can get Ms. Garcia on to other matters.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. And then Mr. Drury, you're here for the respondent, Ms. Perez.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And does the agreement reached by the parties require the court to sign any orders?
The agreement we have in place is just at this stage seeking a dismissal.
Is that right, Ms. Bacon?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then number 25-191 is dismissed on the petitioner's request. Okay. And then if there are no other issues with that matter, I'll just excuse Ms. Garcia and thank you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
We
you.
would have let the court know ahead of time, but we just reached this late Friday. So we weren't able to the interpreter. Apologies.
Oh,
No
that's
problem.
fine.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then I'm going to call Foshog and Whiteside. Would you mind coming up to the table here? Either table is fine, really. And then Mr. Woody is representing a respondent in this case, Walker Yost. Okay. And Mr. Woody, you have a motion.
Yes, Your Honor. Brett Woody on behalf of Walker Yost. We are just newly hired on this. We are moving to continue. Looking for 4 weeks would be better, but we would go with whatever the court's asking.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Foshog and Ms. Whiteside, the attorney for the respondent in this case is asking the court to continue the matter for a period of time as he described. Do you have any response to that?
Well, I mean, I do, because he's our neighbor and his property is directly beside our community park. We have to pass it to be able to use the park, and he has accosted us verbally aggressively on several occasions. This was the third time.
Let's leave aside the merits of the case and just talk about procedurally.
We want it to be addressed. So if we have to wait 4 weeks.
Since this happened, we have not been down to the lake because we already walked to the other side of the street, which is
It's
30
disappointing
feet,
to have
30
to
feet from the driveway.
Well, any continuance will also result in the temporary order being extended to the
Okay.
date of that next
Okay, that's
hearing.
good to know.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is my
And
first time.
I don't know if you were advised by the judge when you came in and got this temporary order, but since this involves, property owners who are essentially, I think adjacent based on what I've read, or somewhat.
He's adjacent to the park.
Yeah,
His property line,
no
sure.
order that the court issues is going to be able to affect his right to use real property. So I want you to
We do
understand that there are
understand that,
limitations
yeah.
to that. Okay, then I will extend this temporary order. And Mr. Woody, did you say 4 weeks?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, if you're consenting to your client having an extension of 4 weeks on his temporary order, that's fine.
Is there any reason that he would need 4 weeks?
Well, I think Mr. Woody explained that when he came on. He just got the case, and attorneys, I know that for you, this is happening in real time, but for
Yeah.
attorneys who get clients come in to hire them for hearings like this, they have an ethical obligation under the rules that govern attorneys to get prepared, and they don't know all the stuff you know, so they have work to do in order to be ready.
We just want to relax and go down and swim.
Yeah, no worries there. You'll keep the order that is currently in effect, the temporary one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know a lot of people ask me that about attorneys coming in, and I know it, just your perspective on it is so different because they're just attorneys. They don't know you and your background and circumstances, but they have to get to know them in order
Yeah.
to do the case. So, all right, 4 weeks is that would be September 8th, I think.
I'll put it.
Is that gonna work for the party, September
We'll
8th?
make that one.
September.
It does work for us, Your Honor.
Fat ass, fuck. That's what the old ass people.
Reissued the order. We'll give you a copy of it since you're here, and we'll see you in about 4 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. And then I'm sorry, do the petitioners are they accepting email service on this before they leave?
They haven't said. You may need to reach out to them. Yeah, Mr. Woody may want to serve documents on you, and he was asking if you're accepting service by email. I don't know if you put that in your petition or not. I don't recall. So, yeah. He'll use whatever information you provided in your petition. Okay, thank you.
Question?
All right, one party case then. First will be Acosta versus Evans. Zoe Acosta, you were on the Zoom call.
Hi.
All right, Miss Acosta. I reviewed your case earlier this weekend, and I do not believe I saw evidence that Miss Evans had been served.
No. So I had to hire a private investigator to look into her to find out where she lives, and they were just able to find her. I believe it was Friday, but they don't work on weekends. So I haven't been able to get her served yet. So I was wondering if there's any way that I could possibly be given an extension, and
Yes.
I can have her served this week.
All right, yes, we'll reset this for you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I will reset that hearing to August 25th. Same time. Okay, Ms. Acosta, I've signed an extension of your temporary order until August 25th to give you an opportunity to get Ms. Evans served. The court clerk will email you your copies of that.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, and then the other one-party case was Miss Walden, Elise Walden. I believe that Emily Gibson did not respond. Is Emily Gibson present? Okay. Let me get this This is 25-218, and Ms. Walden, I know you have another case where the respondent is present. Okay, there was no temporary order issued in this case. So Ms. Walden, would you like one more opportunity to try to get Ms. Gibson served?
Yeah, we were actually wondering if the court would grant electronic service, because both the law enforcement and I have tried 4 times to find her.
We don't need to give you a special permission to do that. You can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to show that the service was received by the other party electronically. So yeah, if you can arrange that, the court will accept that. All right, so the clerk will give you a notice of hearing, and that will be for, it doesn't have to be, if you look on the schedule and see if that's overcrowded already, you can move that out. Okay,
Right now.
fine, then let's do it. Yeah, okay, so Ms. Walden, that'll also be on August 25th. And we'll get going on the rest of these. And Ms. Walden, I'm going to start with your other case. That'll be Walden versus Kiara Bloom Willis. You can just have a seat right there, Ms. Walden. All right, and you're Kiara? And is Bloom Willis the correct way to say your last name? This is number 25-217. Get both parties sworn in. Do you both swear the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. All right. And Ms. Walden, you're the petitioner. You get to go first. Right ahead. And keep in mind that I have read your petition, so I know what you've said in writing. You don't have to say it orally too.
So pretty much since Kira and I's fall out in like February-ish, she has continued to slander me and my business online, and most of it is full of lies. And then recently I had read her wrote all of her evidence. Most of it's lies, and I do have proof, but because her stuff was not turned in until Wednesday, we weren't able to submit the evidence to prove that that was a lie.
So you're referring to these exhibits that were submitted on the 6th? Mm-hmm.
Yes. And she has continued, she has also been working with Emily Gibson, who I have a lot of history with, and she tried to kill me in a car crash last year. And they have both continued to harass and slander me and my business online.
Okay. Now I'm familiar, of course, with the material that you filed in your petition and attached to your petition. So besides what you've just told me now and that other material, is there anything else I need to know before I turn to her?
Yeah, Kira has a history of stalking and harassment. She has stalked and harassed an old friend of hers named Savannah Anderson, who I spoke with not long after Kira and I fell out, and I found that Kira would consistently drive past Savannah's house to try to catch her outside, blare her horn, and she would do that a couple times with me in the car, but apparently this was a consistent thing, and I was not aware of that. And then she also has a history of stalking a minor named Catherine Force, who she had consistently said to myself and my wife that she wanted to try to get a fake profile, which she would make multiple fake profiles and continuously try to contact Catherine Force. And she would say consistently to us that she wanted to see if she could convince Catherine to meet this fake guy out in public and do whatever it is Kira wanted to do. And that's with her history of the stalking and harassment, and with how this has only been going on for about 4 or 5 months, but she has proven that even after years, because she's continued to harass Savannah for 2 years and Catherine Force for a year, I am worried that she will continue until she gets just bored and moves on to the next person.
All right, Ms. Bloom Willis, it's your turn. Tell me your side of it.
March 26th, I decided to cut contact with them. And ever since then, they've texted me on fake numbers and different accounts after I blocked them. I have 3 police reports and I do have a case number with tribal police because they kept coming into my place of work to harass me and causing a scene. And they got 2 verbal warnings that they're not allowed to come in there. I spoke with a police officer and I was advised to call 911 if I see them. But as of now, they are not allowed in my place of work. If they are seen back, they will be considered trespass. And I've done what I can do to try to keep them away from me.
Now, I received this case when it was initially filed by Ms. Walden. At the time I reviewed that case, I did have concerns about whether it was appropriate to even set the case for a hearing. But given some of the things you said, and I think maybe some inferences that weren't maybe as clear as you meant them to be, Ms. Walden, I set the case for a hearing just to give you every opportunity to be able to come to court and demonstrate a case that harassment or stalking took place. Now, nothing that I've heard here today from you, in addition to the things that you filed in writing, even not considering what Ms. Bloom-Willis has filed, none of that convinces me that there's any harassment or stalking going on. Now, what you talk about in terms of, slander, misrepresentations, harm to the reputational value of your business, those may all be actionable cases under the law, but they're not actionable cases here. They're not actionable in district court. They're not actionable as anti-harassment petitions. They may be another kind of lawsuit that can be filed in another context, but not here. So even though she may have said things or done things that harm her reputation or your business, that isn't a case of harassment, an anti-harassment order that can be heard here in the district court. So for those 2 reasons, 1, harassment hasn't been proven by a preponderance of the evidence, and 2, it sounds like you're pursuing the wrong kind of lawsuit. I'm going to find that the case has not been proven and deny your petition for an anti-harassment order.
Your Honor, if I may.
No, you may not interrupt court like this. That's inappropriate. Okay, if you're upset or you disagree with what's happened here, talk to your friend about it afterwards, but don't attempt to interrupt the court. It's not acceptable. All right.
Is he confusing you?
The order denying the petition is ready. The clerk will give both of you copies of it since you're here, and you're free to go.
Thank you.
The next matter we'll have for a hearing is Mount and Dorian versus Dorian. And that is number 25-251. All right, and you're Edmund Mount and
Yes.
Joan Dorian. All right, thank you.
I was under the impression that the original service order needs to be turned in. We just gave you a copy.
Let
Before,
me
is that
check.
right?
If we have it, you don't have to turn it in again, but I'll check.
And it's kind of moot since the department's here.
And Mr. Timothy Dorian. All right, and Mr. Dorian, can you give me a sound check to make sure that you can hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me? Enough?
Timothy.
I can't hear very well and your voice is
Okay,
really soft for me.
I have a hearing assistance device I can give you to help with that. Okay, so let's get a hearing assist device for her. Ready? And Timothy, are you able to hear?
Yes, I can hear. Can you hear me? I can hear.
Okay, gotcha. Your sound is really low, so you may need to move your microphone closer to you. All right, then we'll get started. So I'm gonna have each of you raise your right hand, please. And do each of you swear the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. All right, so Mount and Dorian, and I may just use first names if that's okay with
That's
you,
fine.
since you all sort of share last names here. So Edmund and Joan are going to get to go first because you're the petitioners here. So whoever wants to start, go right ahead.
Okay, the reason that I decided that I needed to file this harassment was because I had received so many text messages from my nephew, and we were having a big family reunion, and he threatened to crash it and talk and make it uncomfortable for everybody there. He had heard about it. He was uninvited because he has a history of just very vile language, and there's too many people in my family that didn't want him there, and they were saying that they couldn't come if he was there, and he wasn't invited initially. And up to that point, I haven't had a lot of contact with him. I have to have contact because I am the power of attorney for his older brother for financial reasons. And he was threatening me initially, and I think initially because he wants to be power of attorney from a financial matters for my nephew. And my nephew, Joel, has had enough experience, both positive and negative, with his brother that he adamantly says that Tim cannot be financial power of attorney. And I have it on video. I talked to him last week, and he restated that that can't happen. I was just going to try to ignore his missives as kind of his MO, that he verbally abuses people. His mom, who he's currently living with, and she has got beginning dementia, has called me on numerous occasions saying that her son is a psycho, and I'm at a wit's end on what to do about that. I don't feel I can intervene in that situation. The mother had called for police assistance about 4 to 6 times. He's still living in the home with her. And I had told both of them, I thought this could be a win-win situation if you could separate yourself when things got really verbal, because they both can be very verbally abusive. There's enough family members that have had issues with him also in this regard, and have stated that they didn't want to see him ever again. He's had past drug abuse, and I don't know how much of that has affected his current behavior, but I don't know what else to do other than file these papers to not be harassed by him.
Edmund, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, we're just, because of his past actions, we're just worried that once this order, if it's dismissed or if it expires, the harassment will start up again. I also might want to note that his brother has informed the hospital front desk that he's not to be allowed to visit him for similar reasons.
Okay. All right, then I will turn to Timothy then. And Timothy, I ask you in advance to try to keep your microphone as close to you as you can so that everybody here can hear you.
Well, I provided care for my brother starting, I believe, March 6th up to April 16th here at the house. And it took about 3 months to be able to make that happen. All of the legal framework that was required to get him into the home. He was here for 42 days, and I was also providing care for my mother as well. So providing care for both of them Just a brief example of the level of care that I had to give my brother included urinating him 15 times a day, every single day, 3 times in the middle of the night, making 3 home-cooked meals, feeding him by hand, and getting him up and out of the chair because he's bedbound, to sit with the family, to watch a little bit of TV, and to repeat this over and over and over, to make him feel, because he is declining and will probably pass away by the end of the year, that he is loved. And the level of care that I gave him it was exceptional. It really was. And so it's an unfortunate situation that there's a different perspective on that topic, but to me, from my experience with him and what I did, I felt it was exceptional. He decided to leave, and that was really for the best, because it was overwhelming for one person to provide that level of care. And I don't know if Joan knows that, but it's just heartbreaking to hear a contradictory narrative other than that truth. So to get to the specifics of this, when we're talking about harassment, I wouldn't qualify it as harassment. I would qualify it as an engagement with a purpose, a lawful purpose, and a lawful reasoning to engage with Joan regarding the fact that she is my brother's financial POA. And I put this into the table of contents, into what I submitted to the court, which is related to her failure as his financial POA and jeopardizing his benefits, because the state makes it very clear what he can and cannot have. And according to a conversation that I had with her, that was a conference call, the date of that conference call was on March 13th, 2025, and it included my brother here at the home when he lived here, and my mother and myself. And there were all sorts of talking points involved in that conference call. They included Joel's Washington State pension, what could happen to that if it doesn't mature. It'll probably be seized by the state to cover the costs of his Medicaid. Other issues in that conversation were his COVID stimulus money. And then that also included what money he had that Joan was preserving for him. So in that conversation, she had $10,000 in, and I don't know if that was in cash or in an account. And then on top of that, he had, basically, that was documented, what he had left was $3,000 in a checking account. And so I wrote all this out, Your Honor. This was from the conversation with her during this conference call. So all of this information here is from that call. This is not, this is from my interaction with her. So this is, to me, it's not made up. It is accurate. I mean, I'm just taking notes. And in the call, she makes it very clear that she has $10,000 of this money that she refers to as his hidden money. And they collectively refer to this as his hidden money. So my argument for engaging with Joan was really that, observably, she has failed my brother as the financial power of attorney with the fiduciary responsibility to not risk him losing his. And it just really bothered me that she was so willing to not take responsibility. I don't believe that there was ever any point that I said I wanted to take over the role. I just wanted her to act responsibly within those parameters and do the right thing. And a simple Google search would have indicated to her, and I put this into my submission, of what all of the available options she could have had in this case to keep him legal so that he wasn't jeopardizing his benefits. And it's clear she could have done a spend down. She could have considered putting the money into a trust, which is unlikely, but she could have done that. She could have done a Medicaid compliant annuity, and she also could have gifted the money. so that Joel could have given the money to family members, and then he would have been compliant with the Medicaid statutes by the state to continue to receive his benefits. And so my engagement with her, which she's defining as harassment, and I'm defining it as a lawful and legal engagement for the protection of my brother, who, it's very sad that he's kind of giving this indication that I've done anything other than to provide him with love and care and support continuously through the course of his life. And the only conclusion that I can draw based on him having that perspective now would really be the last DSHS assessment that was done, that I submitted as well, that indicates there's certain aspects to my brother that it's not that he's not to be listened to, but he does have delusions, he has hallucinations, he has an opioid dependency, he has behavioral issues, and so it's a little difficult for me to accept this collusion on their part that my brother, who is not of sound mind and body, and I do have my brother's medical power of attorney, he was willing to do that. I've never done anything that would indicate on a financial level. Through no point in my life have I ever engaged in a theft at all, really. I mean, yeah, that I can think of, and then especially not in an environment where there is a punitive look back to say, well, you have a court case, or you were convicted of. I don't have a criminal history at all. So I really don't understand where any of this is coming from. I understand Joan believes that I can make her uncomfortable, but her responsibility as financial power of attorney includes following the law. And if you violate the law, it is acceptable to be made uncomfortable. And so my purpose for engagement with her was to hold her accountable for what she failed to do for my brother. I don't have an interest in being my brother's financial power of attorney. I urinated him for 15 times a day for 42 days. I just explained to the court what I did for my brother for 42 days. I have no interest at this point in helping my brother any more than I already have. And it's unfortunate that he feels that way. And it's unfortunate that it's come to this, but I don't think that Joan is satisfying the requirements of the court for this protection order. And I put other information to my response that I really want everything I can do, and I have always wanted this, to get away from these family members. As far as I'm concerned, they are bigots, they are liars, they have manipulated me in multiple ways historically, which are all parts of this case. But as far as the specifics of why we're here today, I don't know how much relevance that is, but I just really want to get away from them. So I don't have a problem blocking her number, deleting her from my life. It has been this way since my father passed away in 2016. I just wanted this to move forward in my life. And so everything was kind of great until there is Joan now taking over the role of being my brother's financial POA. So I have to deal with her, but I never wanted to. So there's no concern, as far as my perspective, to completely just move on and get things back to the way they were, which was with them out of my life. So I'm happy to honor her, but I don't think that the court should impose that legally. There could potentially be consequences for this. I don't know what sort of consequences can come from this. I'm happy to give her what she wants, but I don't think that she's satisfied the requirements of the court.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. Okay. Now, I'm sorry that your family's going through a difficult time. It sounds like a difficult end of life time for a relative, and I know that's difficult and stressful for any family. And I think we've all been there or we will be at some point or another. And it's never easy, and it doesn't appear to be easy here. In reading the petition in this case and the declarations that came in afterwards, I was concerned about this case not falling under the category of harassment. And the issues here that really underlie I guess the difficulties don't have anything to do with an anti-harassment action. The court has no jurisdiction over the financial realities of these parties. We can't appoint guardians or powers of attorney in the context of hearings like this. All of that has to be done in another kind of court hearing in another context. And I don't believe that any of your problems will be solved until that is addressed in those contexts. And coming here and trying to get an anti-harassment order to sort of maybe tamp down some of the conflict just isn't going to do that. And besides which, none of what I've heard today fits the definition of harassment. So I can't issue an anti-harassment order under these circumstances. So I will be denying the petition for an anti-harassment order. The anti-harassment temporary order that was issued when this case was initially filed with the court on July 29th is terminated.
Okay.
All right, and the clerk will give you copies since you're here. And Timothy, your copy of the court's order will be emailed to you by the clerk. Okay, next will be Delory versus Mrazek. Rihanna Delory, is that you? Okay. And am I saying your name right?
Razek.
Razek?
Yeah.
Okay. It's case 25-255. All right. And Mr. Mrazek, I did not receive any proof that you had been served with notice of the hearing today. So obviously you found out about it somehow because you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a copy of the petitioner's petition?
I was served this last Saturday.
Okay. Are you ready to go today?
I wanted to ask for a motion of continuance just because I haven't had any time to get any legal conversation with anyone or grab my own evidence or witness testimony. So
okay. So you said Saturday is when you got your notice?
I got this last Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have no time to submit evidence, which is a week before the court date. And then I also, since it was the weekend, I didn't have any chance to talk to any person for legal counsel.
Okay.
It's my first time dealing with anything in the courts.
Sure. And let me just make sure you understand that if I were to continue the case, that the temporary order that was issued initially would stay in effect until that next court date.
That is fine.
Okay. So let me turn to you then, Mr. Lori, and what's your position on any continuance request?
If that's what he's requesting, that's fine with me. Really, my only ask in this is I just would like him not to come to my house.
Yeah, that's prohibited by the order.
Okay.
So let me ask you, is August 25th going to be okay? That's 2 weeks. That's the typical amount of time these are reset.
Yeah,
no, what day is
it's a Monday. It's just like this.
That should be okay.
Okay. All right. It won't be necessary for any further service of notice, but if there are additional pieces of evidence or anything like that to be filed, please file them as soon as you can. And remember, you'll need to go on the court's website under your case to look at them and be prepared to, read them ahead of time before the hearing. Does that make sense to you? All that stuff should be on the instructions that you were given, but I don't want you to have to continue this again.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, just a second here and I'll give you extension. Okay, so this is the order extending the temporary order, and the clerk will give you each a copy of it and then you're free to go. Okay. Next will be Crookshanks versus Soto Farias. Okay. And you're right in Crookshanks. Yes. Okay. And you're Fermin Soto Farias?
Yes.
Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes.
This is number 25-253. Mr. clarify, this is both 25-253 and 254. They appear to be the same petition and the same person. So I think if there's just a difference in the spelling of the respondent's first name, that's all I can see that's different. All right. Okay. Second here, I have to review something in my court file real quick. Just making sure. Yes, okay, I do. I have what I need here. All right, so we get you both sworn in. You raise your right hands, please. And do you each swear that the testimony that you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do. Okay. Mr. Cruikshank, sir, you're the petitioner here, so you get to go first. Do keep in mind that everything you filed in writing, the court is familiar with, and you don't have to say it all again orally.
The reason why I filed this is on numerous occasions in the past, I've had issues with their dogs coming across my property, and in some cases jumping across fences into my backyard. As a result of this attack, and I call it an attack because this dog is vicious. This dog, it's a pit bull or it's a Ken Corso pit bull mix, I don't know which. But what happened as a result of this is I am now under a physician's care for PTSD. My wife is now under a physician's care for PTSD. And the reason why that's relevant is I'm also under care for what's called diabetic retinopathy, which I have letters, by the way, from these physicians. They just they weren't able to get these together after seeing me and my wife, were able to get those letters for today. One of the big issues on that is my blood pressure. At the time of this attack, my blood pressure at the time of the attack was 253 over 130, and later it became 190 over 85 when I saw my physician later that day. And with retinopathy, one of the biggest concerns is blood pressure. Since the attack, my blood pressure has not been able to be stabilized. I've been on several different medications, and I haven't gotten to a point where it can stabilize my health. I'm trying to get to that point. I have not gone outside of my house except to drive back and forth to grocery store and those kinds of things. I am looking at this as protection, mainly because we don't know when. It seems like there's a reckless nature as far as letting these dogs, and it's multiple dogs, not one dog. But in this case, with this dog, this is a very vicious animal. As far as my wife is concerned, she's under care. We are both wondering when the next attack is going to come. What we're really asking for is just they stay on their side of the property with their dogs, because they tend to let their dogs out with no leash or anything, and a pit bull running wild on my property. If you saw what was the narrative here, my wife froze. I mean, she's scared to death. She thought she was going to die. By the way, I had the same feeling. When I had to jump in front of her, she went back in the house, and I had to deal with this dog, and it kept following. The dog, when it was on our property, was stalking her. By stalking, I mean it came within 6-7 feet of her, and she was in front of our front door. So she had nowhere to go. She tried to go to her right, dog moved to the right, tried to go to the left, dog moved to the left. She screamed for me. I came out, and basically I was the one that was defending her, and I told her to go back inside. We don't know when these animals are going to be released again, but we're asking for protection for our health. My health is not great, but it's my physician said that my retinopathy has definitely taken a negative turn, and I am going to be in therapy for at least the next 3 months, maybe the next year, because of this, and that's why I'm asking for a year as far as protective order.
All right, Mr. Cruikshanks, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
Generally, the court doesn't have jurisdiction over dog confinement. That's something that Thurston County Animal Services does. Have you tried to work with Thurston County Animal Services?
Yep. I filed with them. They put it under investigation. Part of the problem that happens is whenever they come out, there's nothing going on. I'm trying to get to where I can take care of my own. I'm trying to get my health under control. And my wife and I getting backed into a corner with these dogs. This is not a regular dog came over and did something on a yard and went back. This case, this particular case, because there have been previous ones that had happened, but this particular case, this dog is vicious. I mean, I would request this dog be put down for what I saw and what I experienced and what I can have letters.
This isn't the kind of court hearing where that sort of thing can happen. That's why I'm asking questions. I want to vote. You chose this as a lawsuit in harassment. Okay. And there are limitations as to what this court can do, what its jurisdiction is. And there are limitations as to what kind of things can happen in the context of an anti-harassment lawsuit. So that's why I want you to focus on that. Now, if you're talking to me about having dogs confined, having dogs put down, that's getting outside the scope of what we can do here.
Right.
And you may have another kind of case. It may be nuisance. It may be just something that Animal Services is allowed to issue administrative confinement orders for. But it doesn't sound like harassment the way you're telling me. Dogs getting out is generally not considered harassment.
They let the dog. Well, it's not their getting. These dogs run all over the place. I mean, animal control. I've talked to them on several occasions, and I can't get any relief from that. I am trying to get to where I can protect my own health. I mean, I'm over 60. I'm 73. My wife is 65, and we're trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle. This is definitely not part of that healthy lifestyle. So when I say harassment, I'm talking about I'm a senior citizen asking for to be safe within my property, to be safe within my home, and our persons to be safe from my neighbors. I'm going to be going through therapy for quite a while. My wife is going to be going through therapy for quite a while. I mean, if it happens again, I don't know what's going to happen. My wife is terrified. Actually, I'm terrified, to tell you the truth. And I was terrified for her. I mean, somehow maybe I didn't file this correctly, but somehow I need something that can protect us moving forward. We're not going to be in better health in the future to deal with this. That's why I'm saying is if they just release these dogs to where they run wild, to me, that's a form of harassment because we are the ones that are on the defending side of what's going on here. We're trying to basically just defend ourselves. We shouldn't have to defend ourselves on our own property, and we shouldn't have to defend our lives from these folks on a regular basis.
Mr. Soto, I guess.
Yes, Your Honor.
What would you like to tell me?
I honestly have nothing really to say in the case of the matter. The dog in question, she is in care of a relative friend of ours that is taking care of her. As you see, I brought my family. She is not a violent dog. She is not an aggressive dog. We've never had any cases of that being the case. She is a playful dog, and it could have been mistaken for playfulness. Other than that, I don't have anything to really add to this. I personally have a protection order against Mr. Cruikshanks over the incident. And that's basically, we're in the same position. We just want no contact whatsoever.
Yeah, I realized that there's another hearing coming up involving you as the petitioner.
Your Honor,
So,
the way this dog, sorry, I have dry mouth. The way this dog cornered my wife, she couldn't get away from it. This was not a playful dog. This was a dog attack. And by the way, this dog, this type of dog is listed as the #1 dangerous dog in America because of its aggressive nature and lack of control.
all right. I think I've heard comprehensively about this situation. And just for frame of reference here, harassment is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person to seriously annoy, harass that person is detrimental to them and causes substantial emotional distress and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. If I had evidence that suggested that Mr. Soto Farias was intentionally harboring dangerous dogs and releasing them to terrorize you, that might constitute harassment. But I do not find that as a matter of fact here. I can't based on this record.
I have
What I
5 different
will say-
instances this happened.
Okay, I've made my decision, sir.
Yes.
So what I will say is this, and I know there's other litigation involving the two of you with regard to a different anti-harassment order that Mr. Soto Farias brought, but that's coming up later, not on today's calendar. I will say this. One, I encourage you to work with animal services if the animals are a problem. You can continue to work with them. Two, maybe not until the criminal case is resolved, but maybe you can come up with a compromise at Thurston County Dispute Resolution Center. They do work with neighbors and neighborhoods to resolve conflicts like this. Don't do that though until the anti-harassment orders are now no longer in effect. I know there's one that was temporarily granted to you, Mr. Soto Farias, and I believe there had been another one in Lacey criminal case. I don't know if that one's still in effect or not. So, all right. So for today, both on both case numbers 253 and 254, the petition for an anti-harassment order will be denied.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
If I didn't file this correctly, is there another avenue I should be taking?
There might be, but I can't give you legal advice on that. You'd have to consult with an attorney on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, the clerk will give you each copies of the order. And then your hearing is done for today. And Walker Y, if that's Walker Yost, your attorney already appeared for you and your hearing has been reset.
Yeah, I appreciate you speaking to me like that. That's nice. I was just listening. I love law, so I was just listening to you.
All right.
You defined harassment for me, so that was kind of nice. And I see that you teach a course to high school students.
Not currently, but I certainly have.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're going to get on to our next matter, which is Johnson versus Jones, 25-266, final call for Robert and Don Johnson. All right, there is no response. That petition will be dismissed. Oh, wait, there's Don. Okay, it's like they're driving around. Okay, we can't hear you. Your connection isn't connected to sound. Sometimes you just have to log off and log back on. All right, well, you keep working on getting your sound back and I'll move on to some other cases and come back to you after I've done that. All right, next will be Shannon Muskoff versus Benjamin Hawking and Summer Hawking, 256 and 258. Final call for Shannon Muskoff. All right, so those two petitions will be dismissed. And then Shannon Muskoff versus Sarah Coker and Nicholas Coker, 257 and 259. Again, since the petitioner is not present, all 4 of those petitions will be dismissed. And this is a renewal of an existing order that's set to expire in the next 30 days. Okay.
Hello, Your Honor, can you hear me?
Much better. Yes, just stand by about 30 seconds and I'll be with you, okay?
No problem, sorry, Your Honor. Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, here's those final 2. All right, so Ms. Johnson, you've got an anti-harassment petition against James Jones.
Yes, that's correct.
And Mr. Jones has not responded, and I do not see that you have filed proof that he was served with notice of the hearing.
So this, we've had, since I first filed my first restraining order, the Nisqually Tribal Police, Yelm Police, and even the Thurston County have been out to his house numerous times. He refuses to answer the door for them, so I don't know what I do at this point.
Okay, let's see. I've got in my record here, it shows that your temporary order was issued July 15th. The hearing came up on July 28th. At that time, Judge Wilcox gave you an extension to get him served. So we've had, looks like 1 time. This is the 2nd time. So I'll give you another continuance to try and get him served.
Okay, I appreciate that, Your Honor.
So we'll extend your temporary order for another 2 weeks to do that. So your new date will be August 25th at the same time.
Sounds good, Your Honor. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
All right, we'll see you the 25th.
Bye-bye.
Extension. And then we have Smith versus Valim, 25-261. Final call for Miranda and Jamie Lee Smith. All right, there's no answer. Petition will be dismissed. Then I'm gonna go to the renewal 24-262. All right, and Miss Davis, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay. So you filed a renewal motion on July 29th.
Correct.
And it looks like on August 5th, we received proof that that renewal notice had been served. And it looks like that was served on August 4th. Okay, then I'm going to extend your, I'm going to extend for another year your anti-harassment order. Okay, Ms. Davis, I've extended your anti-harassment order for another year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Before we call the case of the state of Michigan versus Daniel McGough, case number 20, or McGough, case number 25S00289.
Hey, what's for the people?
And Matthew Mansour on behalf of Mr. Daniel McGough, who appears today via Zoom from the Washtenaw County Jail. Daniel, can you please state your name for the judge?
Daniel McGough. Thank you. We're here for a pretrial.
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct. I met with Mr. McGough yesterday. So Mr. McGough has an exam scheduled for the 19th. His bond is significantly high on that. So if we could request something for a little bit, I mean, after that, maybe the 25th date, if that still works, so I can, negotiate a plea with the prosecutor.
All right. Can I see counsel in the breakout room, please, briefly? All right, we're back on the record in the Magoo matter. Mr. Magoo, I'm gonna let you go and speak with your attorney for a minute, and then you'll come back and let us know for certain which direction you want to take. We'll pass this matter. Okay. All right, the court will recall the case of the state of Michigan versus Kayla P, case number 25S00250.
Tiffany Woods for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Davi Liba for Ms. P. Ms. P, could you unmute and state your name, ma'am?
Kayla P.
Thank you. We're here for sentencing today. Have you had a chance to review the pre-sentence investigation report with your client?
Hey, Your Honor, we have no factual modifications. We'd be asking the court to accept the recommendation.
Thank you. Ms. Woods?
Judge, I've also had an opportunity to review the PSIR recommendation. I know that her parents are present on Zoom. They would like to make a statement to the court. And I would just like the court to be aware that in that interview, she basically denies having made this assault, and basically said that it's all her mother's fault and she had to spray her mother in the face to protect herself. So we're asking the court for 18 months of probation, not the 12 months of probation. And I would ask the court to allow the victims to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll start with Miss Naomi P, who is the mom and was the victim of this particular assault. And I know that the brother was present. I read the police report so that everybody is aware of the fact that I read the report, both the pre-sentence investigation report very closely, as well as the police report, so that I could get Mr. Mr. Dabrowski, you may leave your case. We're all set. I read the report so that I could get a clear understanding of what was reported to the police in terms of what happened that day versus what Ms. P is saying in terms of what happened that day. Because I hope that the community is aware that I'm very attuned to whether people are accepting responsibility for their actions or not. It makes a huge difference for me if people can acknowledge their wrongdoing and try to rectify their wrongdoing versus folks who decide that they are going to discount what they actually did and make excuses for it. So I really do want to know what happened that day based on what the mom said to the police and what the brother said to the police. It seems fairly clear to me, but I want to hear further from the folks at that home as to the environment. So Miss Naomi P, I'm very pleased that you're here today, and I welcome your comments.
Thank you, Your Honor. I wrote out my victims. I had some deep thought over the last weeks about what happened, and I wrote out what I was going to say. And thank you for allowing me to express my what happened. My name is Naomi, and I am the mother of Kayla, the defendant. Unfortunately, Kayla had unfavorable living conditions for quite some time. She reached out to her dad and I regarding coming to live with us. Kayla had been living with my husband and I for about 3 weeks. A couple of days before the incident, her 3 children were staying in our home as well. On June 7, 2025, my daughter Kayla arrived home from work and proceeded to prepare her children for a bath after fussing with her dad about taking care of her children and being her responsibility. During an attempt to have a discussion with Kayla about the needs of her children and the conditions of our basement, she used profanity and yelled at me, saying, F you. During this argument, I proceeded down my basement stairs and approached her. She sprayed a chemical fragrance in my face. The fragrance caused blurred vision in my eyes. As I attempted to get the can out of her hands, we fell to the floor wrestling. She then started pulling my hair. I began pulling hers. At some point during all the commotion, she said, I don't have a mother. I quote. She also insulted my educational accomplishments and my faith. She said, and I quote, you want to be a sane nurse? That's a sexual assault nurse examiner. Huh, I wouldn't want your help. You call yourself a Christian? Some Christian, end quote. Her 3 children were present and witnessed the entire incident. Fortunately, I did not have to seek medical attention for the chemical exposure. The only injury that I suffered was emotional and mental distress, which was a constant, painful reminder of what happened. The emotional and mental trauma has been far more difficult to bear. Her words, I quote, I do not have a mother, were incredibly hurtful and continue to echo in my mind. The fact that her children were there to witness her disrespect and violence has caused me deep emotional pain. I feel betrayed and violated in my own home, a place that should be a sanctuary. Her insults about my profession as a sane nurse were particularly damaging, as I have dedicated my career to helping others in vulnerable situations. Her attack on my Christian faith, calling me weird, and telling my mother, my husband, and I are a cult was direct insult or assault to my identity and beliefs, which are a source of strength and comfort for me. I am deeply concerned about the trauma her children, my grandchildren, experience. They are victims of domestic violence, both in their mother's relationships and now by witnessing her actions. Children who see this kind of behavior are more likely to struggle with mental health issues later in life. My greatest fear is that they will internalize this behavior and see it as normal. This incident has caused a significant divide in our family. It has shattered my sense of security and trust. I worry about her and her children's well being and the cycle of violence they are a part of. The family relationships are now further strained, and the healing process seems nearly impossible. My daughter must own the decisions she makes and take responsibility for her actions. She needs to understand that her behavior has consequences, not just for herself, but for everyone around her, especially her children. I want her to understand the gravity of what she has done. My primary hope is not to see my daughter punished, but to see her get the necessary help she needs to cope and heal from whatever unfortunate situations she has encountered in her life. I believe she is struggling with her own mental health issues, and I want to see her receive the professional help she needs to break this cycle of violence and anger. I want her to heal so she can be a healthy mother for her children and prevent them from being victims of mental health issues in the future. I urge the court to consider the long-term impact of this incident on my daughter, my grandchildren, and me. I ask the court to mandate a appropriate course of action that will lead to my daughter taking accountability and receiving the mental health and domestic violence counseling she so desperately needs. Thank you, Judge Washington, for allowing me to take this time to express my feelings.
Thank you, Ms. P. I noticed that there was a Byron P. and the father. Is it? Did anyone else want to speak today?
Didn't want to talk over you, Judge. I was just waiting to address.
Thank you.
Man.
You
Well,
may
I'm sorry.
you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Byron P. I'm the husband of 27 years of my wife, Naomi, and our daughter, Kayla. And it saddens me. I just simply had to wipe tears from my eyes that my family is here in a courtroom dealing with something that should have never even happened. You know, I take a lot of focus in on our grandchildren, and I just think it's important for them to learn things that are, you know, beneficial for their age. And we were watching, for example, an age-appropriate education for them. And I was just more or less trying to do an assessment to see what they knew and what they didn't know, and just was going to help them out with it. And there was a comment that one of the children made, and my daughter was in the other room, and she said, "Yeah, we know about that. I'm taking care of it." You know, I just said, "Wow." You know, the intervention, I just, you know, that's how she addressed me. She let her children hear that. And it was something that was of extreme importance. I think it's extremely important for the children to receive help. It takes a village, and I really want them to know that they're loved and they're cared for, and I want the best for all of them because I love them. And I love Kayla. And Kayla would constantly tell me that I wouldn't allow her to parent. And this particular day, Kayla worked a 2 to 8 shift. She got off, and I would assume she would have got home by about 20 minutes. And if she had something else to do, I would think a responsible parent should call whoever has her children and simply let them know what was going on. It became to 8:45, and then I took the initiative to call Kayla. And that was negative to begin with. She just started cussing at me and stuff. And you know, I love my daughter dearly, and it saddens me that the communication goes that way. And Kayla, I mean, it hurts me sadly because she would tell you something bad about certain individuals, and then you'll see her with them the following day. And I just said, you know, what kind of life is that? You know, my wife and I, we were trying to get a job for my son. He wasn't interested, and we both said, you know, wow, it would be a wonderful job for Kayla. It was a skilled trades job, and I really wanted to tell her about it. And I've been trying to contact her, and she wouldn't answer the phone. I left messages for her, and it just saddens me because we really want the best for Kayla. Because it really hurts my heart to be in a courtroom right now dealing with family matters that we shouldn't even have, you know. And I'm at a loss of words. I'm embarrassed that our family is here, and I'm watching my daughter putting her head down. She's got these facial gestures and all that, and that's uncalled for. You know, she's loved. I mean, even at church, we had big people praying for her. You know, just wanting the best for her, and they love her kids, and you know, it's rather embarrassing that we have to be here in a courtroom to talk about something that shouldn't have happened. You know, I love my daughter. I want to try to move forward in a positive manner, but I just don't like this immaturity of like not wanting to talk to your parents. We love her, you know, and I want the best for her. And it really saddens me that we're in a courtroom and this is going on. I just want the best for my daughter and her children. And Kayla, I'm sorry that we are here because it didn't have to be this way. All I really wanted to do is to see if you would call me to be responsible. You wasn't that. You disrespected me the way you talked to me, and you just, it's just sad, Kayla. We have to do better. Even after court is done, I'm still going to be your father. That's still going to be your mother, and we're still going to be a family. And we should be able to move forward as responsible adults. I'm looking at you right now. I'm just like, wow, do you even take it seriously? We're in a courtroom, Kayla. Thank you, Judge, for letting me talk. I don't want to hold your time, but I appreciate you allowing me to address the court.
Thank you, sir. Anything else from the prosecution today?
No, Judge.
All right,
Your Honor, I would like to provide some additional elocution, if I may.
you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. So firstly, Ms. P did indicate to me that Mr. P was trying to contact her. She was not returning those calls because she believes it would be a violation of the no contact order that she is subject to in this case. So that's why Ms. P is indicating that she did not return those calls. With regard to the issue of Ms. P taking responsibility for her actions, I think Ms. P, it's fair to say, has some maturing to do. And part of that process is coming to grips with taking responsibility for your actions. She's pled guilty in this matter, and that's taken the first step to taking responsibility for her actions. I think she's going to comply with the recommended program in this case, which will help her develop those skills further. So we would ask that the court continue the original recommendation of 12 months probation, which of course can be extended if Ms. P fails to comply with her obligations.
May I comment, Judge, if you don't mind? To the best of my knowledge, Kayla and my wife had the incident. It was just happening in the home where I was in. She didn't have a no contact clause with me. It was with my wife. So me calling is perfectly fine.
Thank you, sir. So, couple of things before I go to Ms. P. One is, before Dad even said anything, and while Mom was talking mainly, Ms. P's body language was very off-putting. She's turning her head when Mom's talking. She's essentially giving all the body language that one gives when they want someone to stop talking. As I watched her while Mom spoke myself. The one thing I think I got out of what Mom said that may not justify, because there's no justification for it, but at least frame why Miss P thought Mom was charging at her, is because she was cursing at her mother. So it is likely that Mom may have been charging at her when you cuss at your mom in her house. But it doesn't justify that you're going to spray your mother with anything and fight your mom and pull her hair. The disrespect that I'm hearing is just outlandish, is the word I look at and think of. And the fact that you don't know that and you don't understand that is extremely problematic. So is there anything else you want to say before I go to your client, Mr. Lebo?
I think I don't have anything further, Your Honor, no.
Ms. P, is there anything you would like to say today?
Well, it was to my knowledge that this was sentencing, and it was my time to allow you to hear my side of the story.
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
I said it was to my understanding that this was sentencing, and it was my chance to let you hear my side of the story. But I shared my side of the story, and it just won't happen again.
Miss P,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you agree that your parents allowed you to come back home with 3 children and stay in their basement?
Um, I necessarily, honestly, I don't even know how to answer that question.
You don't know how to answer whether they allowed you to come back and stay in their basement with 3 children?
No, it did. It's a lot of missed context clues.
Ms.
But
P, the judge is
I'm
just asking you a yes or no question.
then I guess yes.
What is the hesitation in that?
I got placed in an unfortunate situation, so I'm just trying to pay the consequences.
I don't know what you mean by you got placed in an unfortunate circumstance. I don't know what that even means.
Well, Your Honor, it's not much convincing I can give you anymore. So I really feel like I can't even tell you my side of the story anymore. Everybody's minds got made up.
That's your choice. All of this is because it's your choice.
Well, to be honest, what happened was I was providing for my children. Really, it was just me staying there. And spirit of the moment, my children were supposed to come there because some other thing happened regarding my previous home, and a lot of other things got messed up with what I had set up for my children. So I was just trying to have everything set back up for my children. They got placed over there, and everybody said they wanted to help me, but when the time came down to it, it just seemed like it was a issue. So I was necessarily trying to do the best I could as a single parent, going to my payroll job and being a dasher on the side. Now, my children came there with all of their belongings that their dad had packed up, and it was some items that they needed. Now, me going to my payroll job, I can't touch those funds yet until payroll, until I get my paycheck. So I just said, okay, when I got off of work, I made the necessary thing to call my parents, let them know, hey, I called my dad first, actually, and let him know, because I knew my children was over there. I just said, I'm going to go dashing for an hour. That's it. I guess he didn't like the fact I said that. And I was thinking, why is he upset? Is my mom not there? Because I understand his health and everything. It's not that good. So he needs some extra help at home. So I was going to consider like, okay, maybe my mom isn't there. Maybe that's why. But he said she was there. And so he placed her on the phone, and I told her the same thing. I said, hey, I just called dad and let him know that I just got off of work and I'm going dashing for an hour. So it was some type of communication on my end. If it wasn't enough, I don't know what they wanted me to do. But after I finished my dashing, and while I was driving, it was just all these phone calls of me getting blown up by them. So I figured what's going on. I had to pull over on the side of the road. I explained this to the police too. I'm like, you're not supposed to be on the phone and driving. That's illegal. So when I figured out what was wrong, I said, I'll be home when I can. Because I said, you guys have to go dashing with me to see that you don't get done at the time that you get done. You could be in the next city or wherever. So when I made it there, it was just constant arguments about the type of jobs that I do. And they said that the kids needed to be wound down, but I thought it was still early enough because I got there around 10. So I said, well, you guys said I'm grown, that they're my children. So I said, I can just take them with me and finish dashing, getting this money, because I was going to use the money from door dashing to go get their necessary items that they need, since that's money that I can touch right away instead of waiting for a paycheck. And that's what I let everybody know, that that's what type of time I was on. So then when they said, well, don't you think they need to be wound down? It's late. I'm like, well, to my understanding, when I came into the house, TV was on, they were up live in the living room. So I was just like, okay, well, cool. They said they needed to be bathed. I said, well, let me go take them downstairs and get them bathed. I said, I'm a parent, I understand it, but my mom did say, well, if you are a parent and you know that, why would you need to say that we said that they need to be bathed? So to my understanding, while I was at work, it wasn't pitched in for any type of help that they could have got bathed, which they have done before, but it's not their responsibility. I'm their mother. So it's really my responsibility. I understand that. But as I was going downstairs to get my kids bathed, my mother was talking about the level of work and how I don't have a career job like her, and I'm Bath and Body Works and door dashing wasn't gonna make do in life. So I just simply told her, well, Mom, I don't think that was the Christian thing to do. That wasn't God. And she just lost it and was screaming at the top of her lungs saying I needed to get the HELL out of her house. And she charged down the stairs. And me being a victim of people putting their hands on me, I'm backing up. I'm not going to fight my mother. That's my mother. And whatever differences we have, that's my mother, Your Honor. And I refuse to put my hands on my mother. So by me backing up, there's no outlet. And she pushed me down the corner and she punched me in the side of my head. And that's how I grabbed the deodorant spray to spray her out of self-defense. I did not want to put my hands on her. That was the nearest thing that I grabbed. I didn't know I was going to do it. And I apologize because now I'm sitting in your courtroom today, paying for my consequences. But I also was not going to call the police on my mom either. That's my mother. So my nature was, after that incident happened, my brother, he went down the stairs and pulled her off of me, told her to stop. And I instantly just told my kids to get dressed. It's no longer safe over here. We need to go. And that's how I said I was going to leave out of their house. I grabbed all my things, everything, because it is some stuff that I have to set up a civil standby to go grab. But I did grab whatever I could to get up out of the house. My dad told me to stay put. The last time he told me to stay put, it didn't end well. So I really just wanted to get out and get my kids out so I could take them to their dad, where I felt like, okay, they feel safe. And I'm happy that they're over there and safe. So my kids shared that they didn't want the police to come. I said, police isn't going to come because I'm not going to call them. I just want us to get out of here. And sure enough, when we were leaving out the door, an officer was on the porch. He asked, was I okay? I said, everything's fine. We were just leaving. And then another officer approached me and my children at my car and said I couldn't leave yet. I asked him, I said, why? He said he doesn't know yet. And I said, well, sir, am I being arrested? And he said he didn't know yet. So that's how all of this happened. And I'm just trying to pay for my consequences since there's no outlet again now. And like I said, I apologize for everything that happened. And I'm sorry that it happened this way. And I just wanted everything to be good. So that's my side of the story, Your Honor. So that's why I'm here listening to everybody. I heard what my mom said. I heard what my dad said. I'm taking it in. And I apologize to both of them as the creators of me.
So did you say F you to your mother?
No, but I did say that about the same because I felt like, why did you punch me in my head? And you told me that you used me as inspiration to be a SANE nurse. So I did say that. That is valid that I said I wouldn't want to get help from her.
These situations are incredibly difficult. I also know that you're an extremely smart young lady, and you can sit here and give me a version of events that seems very rational and reasonable. And I wasn't there.
I know. And I'm just hurt because I didn't expect my mom to do that to me. And that's my mother. And I'm not trying to like give anybody a sob story, Your Honor, but how she said that she had emotional trauma from that. I had emotional trauma as well as her daughter because I never expected that to happen. And I just wanted to pay the consequences. I just wasn't gonna fight my mom, and I wasn't gonna call the police on my mother. Whatever difference.
But you did fight your mother. You're gonna say you weren't going to, but you did. You fought your mom. You literally sprayed her in the face. You literally pulled her hair. Those things you don't acknowledge pulling her hair either.
She didn't even pull my hair. That's why I didn't know why she said that. My hair wasn't pulled and her hair wasn't pulled. But what happened was she charged at me and pushed me down in the corner and punched me in the side of my head, causing me to grab something that's near me, which was the deodorant spray. I just sprayed her to get her off of me. But my brother pulled her off. And that's the only physical, well, not physical because you guys call that a weapon, but that was it. And I grabbed my stuff and I tried to leave the scene because I didn't want to be there anymore. I didn't feel safe being over there. And I didn't feel like my children was safe being over there either. Because it was done in front of them.
So who's Brandon?
That's my brother. That's who pulled her up off me. He had just came home from work.
Yeah, Brandon says that the argument started over Naomi telling Kayla about not helping around the house, nothing to do with your job. And you responded by spraying her in the face with a white canister of spray. And then Naomi attempted to grab that spray from you, and then you ended up falling over and started wrestling on the ground. So you sprayed your mom in the face. And then you were pulling your mom's hair. So not only did she say that, but an independent witness says that.
He wasn't even in the basement when all of this took place.
And that's when Naomi punched you to get you to stop pulling her hair. So I don't know if you're delusional or what. Like, do you really believe these things that you're saying? Because their version of the events talking to separate people are the same without talking to each other. Then you go out to the car and you get a taser. And you're sitting here telling me that you didn't intend to fight your mother. You were going to tase your mother.
Yeah, those items fell out of my bag as I was transporting to the car. And I told that to the officer.
Out of your mouth that you were going to tase your mother because you have the right to defend yourself. So Brandon's lying on you too. Everybody's lying on you. Right, Ms. P?
Your Honor, I apologize to everybody, and I will take the 18 months of this probation because nobody was there, and I explained my side of the story. Everybody explained their side of the story, and I said I was taking my consequences.
Yeah. You know, your father's correct and your mom's correct. That the people who are going to suffer the most in this are the grandchildren. Because they're witnessing this. They're witnessing the devolution of your family as it happens in real time. And I believe you believe what you're saying. That's the hard part. Is how do you get through to someone who actually believes what they put in their head? You believe it. And stop rolling your eyes at me.
I just had something in my eyes. No, I
You
apologize.
have an excuse for every single thing, Miss P.
Okay.
I'm not your mom. And I will put you in jail. You're gonna need to learn how to be more respectful. So you say that you called your dad. Your dad said that he hadn't heard from you and he had to call you.
Is there a way we could pull up phone records? Like, can I go to my phone company and pull up like phone records to prove that I called?
Sure, you can do
Okay,
that.
I will do that first thing after I leave court because I have to go pay my phone bill today anyway. So I will
Okay.
pull that up and see if I could drop that off to the court.
Well, you know, the truth is what happened there matters to me a lot. So Dad, is it your testimony here today that she didn't call you when she got off the first job?
That's correct. I was just looking at the time, like I had stated to the court, my daughter kept accusing me of not letting her parent. And so I was trying to give her the initiative to contact. And any responsible parent who has someone watching their children will allow them to know, hey, I'm off of work, I'm on my way there, establish some type of communication. When it got to be 8:45, I was like, where's Kayla at? And one of the things is she stated that she dashes a lot. And that was just, I was talking to my son about that because he does a lot of dashing, and I said, but every time she turn around, I'm dashing, I'm dashing, I'm dashing, I'm dashing. And the lady that even her the kid's father, mother, the kid's father's mother, she said that the next day she was over there and they were gone somewhere. And Kayla told us for hours about how he's a terrible person and she don't want to be with him and this, that, and the other. So Kayla has a history of saying things that try to convince you that this is how she is when it's nothing like that. And I hate to say that, Kayla, but it's the truth, And I know there's going to be consequences now. You probably won't let us see the kids and things like that. And I heard you use the excuse that you didn't want to contact me, knowing it was you wasn't supposed to contact your mother. I mean, you knew that just as well as I do, Kayla. And I just said, okay, I'm listening to you. The fact of the matter is, Kayla, we're in a court of law. This isn't just you talking to anybody. We're in a court of law. Think about things carefully before you say it. Don't let things get used against you. You're hurting me. Look at your facial gestures right now. I'm just like, come on, Kayla. Please, babe. Be better than that.
So, we're here because you sprayed your mom in the face, pulled your mom's hair, and I've listened very carefully to you to try to see exactly where you're coming from, and you have apologized here, but then accuse your parents of lying about basically everything that they've said today, which is pretty serious to me. Like your dad said, you're in a court of law right now. And you're looking at an opportunity to get HIDA, which is a first offender program that allows for this to be erased off your record. And I believe that everybody should, if they have an opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity so that they don't have a record, because it limits your possibilities in life if you have a record going forward. So I don't want you to have a record. But I also want you to accept responsibility for your actions. And if you seriously are not able to see what you're doing, I don't know how you change that. So what I'm considering right now is whether I'm gonna finish the sentencing today or take a look at these records to see if you're telling me the truth or a lie, because I don't like anyone lying to me. I am, for the most part, I'm gonna do the sentencing today. I'm gonna file a recommendation of the probation department for the most part. I'm gonna sentence you up to 93 days in the Washtenaw County Jail. Credit for the 1 day that's served. The 92 days are suspended. I'm gonna put you on probation for 18 months. You'll be eligible for early discharge once you complete half of that. So at 9 months, if you've done everything you're supposed to do. Fines and court costs in this particular case for a total of $525. You to meet with probation when and where directed, including any and all home visits. You to make earnest efforts to maintain legitimate employment. You to complete the Class A Living Skills CBT program within 90 days. There's no assaultive or threatening behavior towards anyone. You to submit to, pay, and be responsible for random drug and alcohol tests as requested by the court, probation, or any treatment provider. There's no use of alcohol, marijuana, illegal drugs, drug paraphernalia, firearm components, ammunition, or other dangerous weapons. You'd also get a mental health assessment done. And your HIDA is granted. I'm gonna do a review in 90 days. I'm seriously wondering whether you have a defiance disorder. That is what I'm concerned about. Oppositional defiance disorder.
What is that?
Where you just don't want to follow the rules that anybody gives you. Like you want to work your own pace, do what it is that you want to do. And you defy when people tell you what it is that you should be doing. So I'd like for CMH to look at that and tell me whether or not you have that. And if you have it, I am hopeful that you will work towards getting over it. If you have it, it will show up here because I am a person of authority that you would then be defined. So I hope that you don't have it and that you don't defy what I'm asking you to do. I would hope that you would not try to keep the children away from parents that seem to be very loving and caring for you and who would care for your children. As a parent, you get to parent your own kids. That's all true. But as a parent, you also need to listen to your own parents because they've been through it with you. And they can be source of guidance. But that's your choice. I'll see you back here for a review. I'm going to do a review in 60 days on October 20th, 2025. And that'll be at 10 a.m. At that time, I want to see these, I'm ordering you to provide the court records, the phone records that you're telling me that are true. So please provide me those phone records showing that you say you called your dad.
You got it.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
You need to contact the probation department tomorrow after 9:00 a.m. Do you have their phone number?
Yes, Your Honor.
Call them tomorrow after 9, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good luck to the family.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. God bless you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. You're all set. Well, we'll call the case of the state of Michigan versus Daniel Magoo. Are we not ready? Okay. 25S00289.
Tiffany Woods for the people.
Matthew Mansour on behalf of Mr. Magoo. Mr. Magoo, whenever you're unmuted, please state your name again. Daniel Magoo.
All right, where are we with this one, please?
Your Honor, we are going to request the adjournment after the exam date on the 19th. We are aware that the final settlement conference will not be available this month, but we're okay with that.
August 25th at 9:00 a.m. Bond is continued.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry it took so long, sir.
It's all good.
Thank you. All right, the court will call the case of the state of Michigan versus Sheikh Ha, case number 25S00039.
Tiffany Woods for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Davi Lebo for Mr. Ka. Mr. Ka, could you state your name?
Jack on the record.
Thank you. We're here for sentencing today.
Your Honor, could we approach for a moment?
If this is about him filing some motion, I'm not adjourning it again for him to do that. So there's nothing for us to approach about.
Your Honor, just for the record, then Mr. Ka did indicate to me that he was interested in withdrawing his plea. I explained that there are very limited grounds for doing so, and that as we didn't represent him when he entered the plea, we have limited information about that. And so, Your Honor, we would be requesting an adjournment for that purpose. If that, however, is not possible, we are prepared to proceed with sentencing.
Ms. Woods, anything from you on the motion for him to withdraw his plea?
Judge, I don't believe there would be a basis for him to withdraw the plea. Unfortunately, I don't have any information. I can't access anything on my computer, so I'd ask the court to go forward with sentencing today.
So the last time Mr. Ka was here, he brought up that issue, and I appointed new counsel so that that could be done. In addition to that, Mr. Ka had at that time failed a test on July 1st, and he had police contact in the interim time period. So we're here for sentencing today. We're going to proceed with the sentencing, and that is where we are.
May I say something?
You'll have plenty of time to say what you need to say, Mr. Ka. What is it that you want to say, sir?
I would like to withdraw my plea because I understand that it carries a higher sentencing time also. And I'm asking the court because I was not presented properly the first time.
Mr. Ka, as you may recall, sir, we started a non-jury trial where testimony was taken in that particular matter. And I listened to a witness who at that point sounded very credible. You were given an option to proceed with that non-jury trial or to take a plea, which was to a lesser offense. You chose to take a plea to the lesser offense. So there are very limited bases for which you can withdraw a plea, and I explained that to you at the time that you took that plea and you proceeded with it.
My understanding that isn't the greatest or the clearest, and it takes me a second to get a very good understanding of things. That's why I was incapable at that moment in time because I was just stressed out. I was incapable of comprehending or thinking properly. I was just honestly going with the flow.
You never went through the flow, sir. So
I understand I'm here for sentencing. but I'm begging to have the trial, please. I'm begging to have the trial.
You can beg as much as you want to, sir. You're not entitled to have your plea withdrawn. And there is no promotion for me. And right now, we're moving forward with the sentencing. All right. Mr. Lebo, is there anything you'd like to say in terms of corrections, deletions, or additions to this particular report?
Yeah, Your Honor, I would like to allocute.
All right. Ms. Woods, is there anything you want to say at this time?
Judge, I'm unable to view my notes, but I believe when he did enter into the plea offer, we did agree to a no upfront jail term, which was one of the reasons why the defendant did enter into the plea offer. So I'd ask the court to follow the recommendation. I'd ask for no jail time and the probation that's recommended by the probation agent. Thank you.
Well, okay. My notes do not say that. So I think we're gonna need your notes. So the record does show that there was an agreement for no upfront jail in this case.
Thank you, Judge, for checking. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else from you, Woods?
Nothing from the people, Judge.
All right. Ms. Decker, what would you like to say today, ma'am?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. So last time we were here, I did make my victim statement. But I just want to make it very clear that the burden that this court case has had on my life and the amount of emotional trauma that Shaq has put on me is so severe that I literally cannot sleep at night. Like, coming to this court date today, I have severe anxiety. Like, my whole life has changed just from one day of meeting him. Like, I can't even begin. I can't even, like, it's hard for me to function because I have so much trauma. Like, I have a whole child that I have to take care of by myself because this man can't step up and be an actual man who takes care of his kid, who does the right thing or makes any kind of logical decision. The amount of abuse he has put me under physically, mentally, and emotionally is inhumane. My life will never be the same. 2 years ago, before I met Shaq, I was a love, fun, kind, happy person. And now my life is just hard. My life is hard. Okay. He owes me like $10,000 because I was stupid enough to buy him a car, which he used to drink and drive around and pick up other girls and do drugs with. Like, this man is a monster. He deserves to go to jail, as far as I'm concerned. But whatever the court decides for him is what you guys decide. He's literally on probation right now for strangling his ex and almost killing her. A felony case. He's abused me. He's abused women after me, and he's not gonna stop. This is not where it ends. He's not gonna stop. He keeps getting away with these things with slaps on the wrist, and he just keeps doing it. He hasn't learned. He's never gonna learn because this is who he is deep down to his core, to his soul. He is a woman abuser. He's an opportunist. He is a terrible human being. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Decker.
Thank you.
What would you like to say, Mr. Lebo?
Your Honor, I do just want to note that I would ask the court to follow that agreement. I do want to note that Mr. that Mr. Ka is enrolled in therapy. As the report indicates, he's enrolled in the HEAL program. So he is participating in programming.
I think he was participating in programming when he committed this abuse.
I don't have that information, Your Honor.
You'll get a chance, Mr. Cobb. Put your hand down. I'm sorry, what? All right, thank you. Ms. Woods, are you there?
Yes, Judge, I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to bring up my computer, the rest of my stuff right now, Judge.
Mhm. Mr. Cobb, what would you like to say, sir?
I want to start by saying the fact that, yes, I'm an alcoholic. I've also been in recovery. I've lived a life where I've grown and learned how to live and be with society. I went from drinking, drugging, and stealing. I have a bunch of felonies. Yes, I'm not the most righteous person, but if you look at my track record, you'll be able to see that I've showed improvement where I've changed. I've totally changed. Yes, I've got a strangulation that while that all the incidents that was going on in that case, as that was happening, the person who I am here with, that's the mother of my child, was on the phone with me the entire time. The entire time. I am not right for what I have done. In that case, I am not an abuser. I am not a manipulative person or any of the things that she's saying that I am. I just want the court to also understand that these allegations came in on January 10th. On January 9th, she spoke to a lady named Rebecca Klein, who I currently have a PPO against, who's the person who bonded me out. That person currently was the one that reached out to her for her to call the cops on January 10th and made the allegations that she made. There is nowhere in there that the things that she says are shown. I didn't rub her in no applesauce. I didn't cause no issues or no damages to her. I would never put my hands on her. This woman looked at me and said to me face to face, who are they going to believe? The person who's a felon or me, the little white girl? I could take a polygraph and she could take a polygraph. That will settle that. There is absolutely no way that a woman should call you and then you wake up the next morning to ruin my life because you're just mad at me. Also, the fact that on December, there was a PPO that was entered. The PPO was entered, and then I was convinced and told that the PPO would be retracted. This is all things that was told to me based on our past previously. It's been multiple times that she has told me she's going to put a PPO out on me because she know where I stand with the law and know what it is that she could say. I am not credible because I haven't been heard to talk. I honestly would like to go ahead and have the case so I can the trial so I can show the reason why I never violated the PPO in the first instance when I first had an interaction with you. PPO was never served to me. The PPO also wasn't told to me. When the PPO was told to me, it was from her sending me the message showing me that she has written the proof of having the PPO retracted. The PPO was never retracted because she was in contact with the girl, Rebecca Klein, who I currently have a PPO against, who still is contacting me to the point where she sends me money and talk about my belief system because she understands where I'm at. I have been in recovery since 2020. I have
You
almost
just found to be drinking, sir. You were drinking just last month.
last month.
You tested positive.
Yeah, I tested positive in that one instance that I tested positive for.
No, that was March. You tested positive in March.
That was it. That was it. And that test did not last long in the breathalyzer.
What do you mean didn't last long? What does that even mean?
It means that I took that drink by accident. I didn't know that it was alcohol in there. I suffered from a brain bleeds that made me lose my sense of smell and taste. So I just took that cup, drinking it. And when I wouldn't. That's why I asked to have the tether as an alcohol tether, so it limits me from all the different complications that I'd have to deal with. I sometimes will breathalyze on the sober length more than once because I can't remember that I've breathalyzed before.
And Judge, he's also tested positive for THC numerous times, which he shouldn't even be able to have marijuana at this point. So he's, has issues with that as well.
I see counsel in the breakout room. And Mr. Ka, in a minute, you can go in and speak with your attorney. Ms. Decker, you're gonna go in and speak with the victim advocate. And the court will recall the Antoine Brown matters.
Any words for people?
Assistant Public Defender Davi Lee.
Where are we at on the Ka matter? Yes, you can because the other one's Mr. Lebo.
We're prepared to go forward on that, Judge.
All right.
Your Honor, I believe the court wanted me to speak to Mr. Khan at breakout room again.
And you did not?
No, Your
Well,
Honor.
before you do, what Ms. Woods, would it necessitate him speaking to Mr. Ka again?
Judge, we want to go forward with sentencing today.
Okay, then there's nothing for you to speak to him about.
Thank you.
All right, the court will recall the case of the state of Michigan versus Shaq Ka, case number 25S00039.
Tiffany, what's for the people?
Assistant Public Defender Davi Lebo for Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan, could you state your name, sir?
On the record.
Thank you. All right, anything else from you, Mr. Ka, is where I believe we left off?
Yes, I'm not sure where I left off at with the story, but I want the court to know that I'm a good father to the point where I was told to stop buying things. That's one. And I have proof for everything that it is that I am saying. I've not been abusive, coercive, threatening, or have initiated any of those behaviors towards the mother of my child. I've made it very clear that it's a repetitive theme when it is holiday or anything going on where it's an event where this whole entire situation where it started from, because her mom does not like the kids because of the kids' origins. Yes, I have proof indicating that her mom is racist and all that from her stating that to me. I am not the greatest person. I'm not a bad person. Yes, I cheated. But that's not the reason why I should get another case to have me go to prison on my case in Oakland County that I was supposed to finish probation for, which I've been compliant and doing everything. I go to Easter Seals and I take my medication. She mentioned that there were multiple times that the police been called to the house. If multiple police have been called and they've been there and seen both of us, how come there has not been any issue or anything? That those police officers are there. If I was erratic or had any kind of issue, there would have been something that would have had happened already. Instead, it's something that happened on January 10th, the day before you have contacted and talked to another female who still does not understand or get the point of not calling me. So that police officer creates a case. Now I am here. I'm going to mention it to the court. I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. But because I have not lost my mental capacity due to the fact of the things that I've gone through. I sit here every day and struggle not being able to know what is the whereabouts of my son, not knowing what it is that is going on there, and having been in presence of my son being taken care of and knowing that that is not the proper care. A person looking at me and telling me they know my track record, and I could prove that they have sent me messages, multiple messages that shows how they are threatening me because of my situation being on probation. And it doesn't just stop there. Like I've told her that I'm scared of her, but I stuck around because of my son. I come from West Africa. Family is everything to me.
I can't make out what you're saying right now. It's not coming through clear.
I said I come from West Africa, Senegal. Family is everything to me. So I wouldn't do anything to her. I wouldn't do anything to her to hurt her. And she knows that. She knows that. I am not an abuser. Yes, I cheated. Yes, I've done some wrong in the past. I'm not the person that it is saying that I am. And I read my PSI indicating that I sold drugs, saying that I have access to guns, all of which are things that I am not. In the instance, if I was, you wrote that on the PPO and you are retracting the PPO. These are lies that I'm not trying to be the person that's just sitting in this courtroom just saying that it's always lies. I'm saying the lies are there because I have proof, which is why I wanted to have the trial. For a man sitting over here being told that you're on your sentencing agreement, you don't get jail. And I am willing, because on one of our hearings here on Zoom, you looked at me, Your Honor, and said to me that I better come with a better argument, or basically I better come with something better. I haven't gotten to speak. I'm finally able to speak. I want to show my point. I wasn't represented. I wasn't represented fairly because there was some bias condition and things there. I just want to be able to go to trial. Going to trial carries more time. I'm pretty sure everyone wants to be locked up. It's I will go. I will go. I'm not a bad person. I do everything I'm supposed to do. Yes, I have a problem with females, but I know that. I know that myself. Jealousy should not be the reason for me to go ahead and go to prison. I'm a great person, I'm a great father, and I'm a great person in my community. And I'm not saying these things because my community sees me. It says that I don't have or can keep a job on my PSI. I've been an employee of the month at the place that I worked at last year while running my entire business. This year, I just run my business because I just had surgery. I've gotten to a point where now I manage 3 different mosques for my community as a Muslim. And that's just one of that's just some of the places that I manage. I am not a bad person as this person is trying to make me be. I understand there's some things like when it comes down to being mad, but as a person, it should never have gotten to this point And I just want to have the trial to show the proof as to why, because this is not where it has always got to. It's always, I'm pinning you to the wall so I can hear the truth. The truth was that I cheated and I didn't tell her. The truth is that she knew of the person, but wasn't clear. The truth is that person contacted her when it was clear to that person that I was not going to be there. I am not. Sorry, what's that?
Is there anything else, Mr. Crowe?
I don't know what else I can say. I just wanted to make sure I got that out to make sure the court knows I'm not a bad person. I'm a great father. My family was the only family at the hospital when she had my son Malik. My family was the one that's there. No one else. No one else. It takes a village. Bottom line also is the fact that this is going on because I was told that my son is going to call another man daddy. Face to face being told to me. That hurts. I don't have anything else to say. And there's absolutely no way I can take my plea back. I want to have the trial. The trial carries more time.
Sir, I heard you when you said that at least 5 times now.
Sorry.
With respect to the sentencing in this case, there is a sentence agreement with the prosecutor's office that there's no upfront jail. And that was the agreement that he pled to. Unless that is going to be retracted, then he doesn't get to withdraw his plea.
Judge, the victim really wants to go forward with sentencing today, and we're fine with the no upfront jail. We'd ask for the maximum term of probation and for a GPS tether if possible to keep him away from the victim and a hot zone to her address. Judge, this has been drawn out and the victim can't move on. She can't heal. And I think a lot of this that's going on right now with this defendant, he does have a problem with females, clearly, because he can't keep his hands off of them. This is not his first domestic violence conviction. He needs counseling. He needs help. We believe he does have a substance abuse issue that he needs treatment for. And the victim just wants to move on with her life without this man. And he's just dragging this on by saying he wants a trial because he doesn't want to let her go. This is a way for him to control her and manipulate her. So the victim wants to take control right now and wants him to be sentenced. She wants her life back, Judge, and she can't do it with this hanging over her head. Thank you.
Anything else from anybody else?
I have something to say.
Not you. You've said enough. Mr. Lebo?
To the best of my knowledge, there haven't been any recent contact allegations. So I would ask that to be considered regarding the request for a tether.
I can't make out what you're saying right now.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, is this any better?
A little bit, not much.
I think I'll check out my laptop after court, figure out what's going on. I would just ask that the court consider that there haven't been any recent allegations of contact with regard to the request for the tether.
Thank you. Yes, I'm with the defense with respect to the contact issue. I mean, he's been coming back and forth to court now since this trial in April. I haven't heard any allegations of contact.
Well, Judge, I think based on the fact that he's had bond violations, he's still, was still testing for the THC after he's ignored court orders. So based on the fact that he's violated conditions, orders from the court, we do still have safety concerns. And if he's still violating court orders, that would be the reason why we would ask for the GPS tether. Thank you, Judge.
The defendant's violation of the court order was with respect to the alcohol, for which he's now on an alcohol tether. And the court has addressed that particular violation. I am not going to increase his sanctions at this point to put him on a tether for home confinement or anything like that when I haven't had any violations of the no contact order alleged. So I'm not doing that. What I will do though is going to sentence him to 93 days in the Washtenaw County Jail. Credit for the 4 days that have been served. 89 days are suspended. So he doesn't have any additional jail time unless he violates the court's orders. You are on probation for a total of 18 months, sir. You are to do the accountable choices program. There's no assaultive or threatening behavior towards Miss Chelsea Decker or anyone else. No contact with her whatsoever. No going to her place of employment or address.
Nobody even want to see her.
Sir, please stop making outbursts. Okay. You are to have the alcohol tether will continue, and you are to have a review in this case on October the 20th, 2025, which is 60 days, to see if you're in the accountable choices program.
Your Honor,
Yes.
can he also do the weekend accountable choices program as well, since it does relate to children and he does have a minor child? I think that would be beneficial for him as well.
Mhm. Weekend accountable choices is ordered. I'll see you back here on October 20th at 10 o'clock a.m. sir.
So what all do I have to do?
I just told you, if you have any questions, contact the probation department. So I see how well you listen to what I'm saying when I just gave you everything that you need to do.
It takes me a second to comprehend everything. I mentioned that earlier. I had 4 brain bleeds.
You need to write down the probation phone number right now, and they will go over your contract with you, sir.
I'm ready.
Call them tomorrow after 9 o'clock a.m. and they'll go over the contract with you.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.